welcome back to Liquid Lunch, and fabulous music there. I don't know who that artist is, but it's fabulous. And we've got Jennifer Welsh here now, who's not Irish, she's Welsh, right?
Absolutely.
We're talking about stress management, and you're a consultant, and you've got a unique approach. But tell us your story first of all. Like,
Okay.
how did you get into stress management of all things?
Good question. A couple of reasons. I was a secondary level phys ed teacher and guidance counselor. And
What grades were you teaching?
9 to 13.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, and I did that, and as a guidance counselor, I got very frustrated because we couldn't help the kids with their personal problems, with their problems. We didn't have a practical tool other than just listening to them and giving advice from our own values. We weren't of much help to them. So that kind of started me on my questioning and my journey. But also, I wanted to solve my own problems.
What were those?
Yeah, exactly. I'll share with you. Some of them, not all of them.
Right.
But at the time, I was. Let me start from my past. When I was a kid, I was the curly redhead with the freckles, the buck teeth, and the glasses. So I didn't really fit in, and I wasn't very accepted. So I did what most people would do. They try to fit in and get accepted. So I ended up, and I think I did it subconsciously, honestly. I didn't consciously go out and do this. I ended up being happily married to my high school sweetheart. We had a beautiful home. We had 2 healthy, lovely children. I got to work part-time or not work at all if I didn't want to. I had that luxury. I had it all. You know, I got to that place that we're
The
supposed to
Canadian
get
dream.
to. Exactly. But I was really unhappy. And I was really kind of frustrated and with myself for being unhappy. You know, this is what I'm supposed to have according to what is the perfect life.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for me. So at that same time as I was teaching, I started to really start to question, okay, something's wrong here. Like, it's not working for me. It's not working for my students. So I started searching for answers, and I came across a philosophy and a method of questioning that really helps people relieve their stress, reduce it, even eliminate it in that one stressor. I can't say for everything all at once, but also transform themselves at the same time. So there's that double component in it.
What is that line of questioning? I mean,
What
what is
is
that
that?
philosophy?
Okay, so it's based on this. Everything, we live in a world of duality. We see it every day. There's up, down, in, out, right, left, hot, cold, positive, negative, nice, mean, sunrise, sunset. We can't have one side without the other side. So I can't have a sunset if I don't have a sunrise,
Right.
and vice versa. But we live in a pleasure-centered society, and we've been inundated with messages that if we try hard enough, if we get rich enough, if we're good enough, if we're nice enough, if we're smart enough, we can get a one-sided life. We can get what we would call a perfect life or be a perfect person. Perfect meaning one-sided. And because when I ask my clients, what's your perfect day? They'll tell me all about their day, and I'll ask, well, was there anything bad in that day? And there won't be. So perfect for us really is one-sided. And so we try to attain this, but it's impossible because we live in a world of duality, and we have 2 sides.
Right.
You do, I do,
Absolutely.
right? The people that we live with know that we have 2 sides. We create these images, though, don't we? That, you know, everything's not you, Hugh, but we create these images that we're one-sided.
Right.
Let me give you an example, and I love this. Tiger Woods. Here was a guy we thought had it all, right? Here's the guy that did it. The perfect life, the wife, the money, the fame, mastery in his sport. And then we find out he's got a whole other world, a whole other side. So the questions that I asked, because that's what you wanted to know, was to alleviate our stress or to relieve our stress, I help my clients see the other side. It's as simple as that.
So they're stressed out because they're feeling all the negatives or whatever.
They're
Or
perceiving,
battling it.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're perceiving there's more negative than there is positive,
Right.
or more pain than there is pleasure, to use that word.
You know what's really sad about that?
You know what?
Is that it's all about the perception. Nothing will
is.
actually change.
No, actually, it does change, because if that's what we do. We shift your perception completely. And you get this, you get that. Your reality is based on your perception, and your reactions are based on your perceptions.
Right.
So when they shift, when your perception shifts, so does your world. And that's where we come from.
So, and you mentioned, that the stress management goes along with personal transformation. And it's almost like the way you're speaking about this, it's like there's not really any difference between those two things. I mean, why do people want to transform their lives? It's because they want to, they're feeling some sort of stress, some,
Struggle.
like you in your story, there's something that's not right where I'm at. I want to change it. And it's that stress that is the impetus for change, for transformation.
It is, absolutely. And in my case, I'm beating myself up because I was ashamed. I should feel happy. I have it all.
Right.
Really, why would I feel like this? And who do you go to about this? So you're right. Our stress, our struggles are an impetus for change. And we can do that. We can transform ourselves and our lives completely.
And it's important to take that time and face the facts, because a lot of people end up being bitter in things they don't want to do. And it creates more stress for themselves and people around them.
Absolutely.
And it's a snowballing effect.
Absolutely. And everything comes with two sides. Like you just told me that, you're the mother of a lovely 15-month-old. And as much as there's that wonderful side, there's also that other side that is
Absolutely.
like, wow, this is not what I expected, or it's lots of work, or whatever, right? So there are both sides.
So who are your ideal clients or people that want to take advantage of what you have to offer?
People who have problems, who are struggling, and they want to make a change. They're really interested in making a change. They're frustrated with the results that they're getting out of themselves or their lives.
And is this one-on-one meetings? Do you have different ways in which you connect with people, or?
One-on-one consultations for sure. I have a clientele that's all over the world, so I'm on the phone or Skype or in person. I also go and do workshops for corporations as well as professional offices. I come in and do a 3-hour workshop on 2 3-hour workshops, one in managing personality clashes, because that's a whole other world, and then how to manage the stress of situations and events.
No, I'm just taking an example in that about personality clashes in a corporate environment. Is that essentially what it is? So are you speaking to the management? How do they handle personality clashes among the staff, or about how people handle their own personality clashes?
Either or, because it relates to all the levels.
Right.
It does, absolutely, in a corporation or in any business, in a family even. So I teach the principles or the concepts behind, and then it's very practical and help them work through actual clashes that they, conflicts that they may be experiencing, whether they're personal or professional, because we all have that.
And how does the relationship begin? Is there a line of questions that you ask to get to know the person that you're working with, or is it them coming to you about something in particular?
Most people come to me about something in particular. Most people are so frustrated or struggling with something that they come to me. Yes, that's usually how it happens. Yeah.
Because aren't people, I think maybe all people, maybe not all people, but maybe most people.
Some people.
They fall into a rut. For whatever, they tend to repeat the same old patterns and face the same kinds of crises, because that's just how people work, right?
Similar.
But at some point, sounds like your clients are the people that say, I'm sick of this, always running into the same roadblocks.
That's right. Or the ones that are proactive, that go, okay, I've noticed this has happened a couple of times. I don't want to make a life out of this. But you're so right. Our belief systems that we pick up when we're young, often we create our lives based on them when we don't even examine them, and then we keep repeating things because things we don't like, we just keep repeating, and just in different patterns and different forms.
Right.
And eventually, it's time to wake up if you choose and find the other side. You see, problems don't go away, do they? But every problem's got a gift in it for
Really?
you.
Absolutely.
It does.
You learn.
It's got a gift. There's some wisdom, or there's some meaning, or there's something for you. But you have to be willing to go in and mine for it and look at the other side.
I think often when you stop fighting it is when you can receive a lot of the gifts. It's just that's part of it. We're trained to also fight ourselves because we are chasing the whole idea of being perfect or
We are,
not
aren't
being
we?
accepted or being accepted. So my question is, do you get some of the people who maybe have been repeating their patterns, they finally get motivated to make that phone call, but they want to back out from it because it's easier to fall back into the old routine? How do you deal with that?
I usually attract only people that are ready for change. However, there are clients that we get to a certain point where they kind of sense that this is the linchpin. This is going to be what's going to create the change in their lives. And for some, it's kind of scary. They don't want to go there.
Right.
They want to stay where it's comfortable instead of trusting that that's exactly where they're supposed to go and they're going to be perfectly fine there. So you're right. Very few though, because that's not what I attract.
Right.
Yeah. I attract people more like me that are ready just to dig in the trenches, make it happen, let's transform.
So when you realized this, that you had your own issues that you wanted to break through, like, how did you stumble upon this process?
I ended up reading lots of books, going to different seminars, and you keep asking the question long enough, you're going to end up finding people or books that are going to help you find the answer. So then I left teaching to start this business because I realized that I still wanted to teach. It was just in a different form. For me, it's the same
Right.
thing, because as a phys ed teacher, I was really about helping my students see what was really great about them. And this is exactly what I'm doing. As we find the gold, find the gift in the problem, there's a part of us that goes, oh, wow, I feel really good about me. There's something really great about me. Oh, my life isn't a mess up, right? I'm not all messed up. Oh, okay.
Right.
So it's the same kind of energy, just a different form. Same pattern, just a different form. It's my rut. I'm a teacher.
So now when it comes to working with the corporations, because it's easy for a person to feel stressed and feel a need for personal transformation, but for a company, what kinds of, what are they going to be dealing with that they should, give you a call to deal with?
If clients are clients, sorry, but if their staff or their employees are feeling, I just lost the word. If they're losing productivity because they're overwhelmed and they're just going back and forth and they can't seem to focus, this method of questioning, is so simple that it really helps bring them back into focus and get productive right away. And you can do the same. It's the same thing whether it's for a personality clash. Really, there's a few little tweaks, but really all we're doing is looking for the other side. So if I had a 14-year-old with attitude or a 40-year-old colleague with attitude, and maybe the attitude is they're disrespectful. Well, we all know what the negatives of disrespect are, don't we? We know what it feels like when we receive it. We don't like it. But what's the other side? What are the benefits or the positives or the advantages to us when that person is disrespectful? Oh, that makes everyone go,
Yeah.
Because we're not used to thinking that way.
Is there an answer to that?
There is.
Well, I mean, can you give us an example of
Well,
what
if
the answer
someone's-
might be? Because we can't think.
This I'd love to hear, yeah.
Because we're not used to thinking like this. We're used to thinking just in a
Negative,
rut,
yeah.
in the one way. And so this is it. So one of the benefits, if someone's disrespectful to me, one of my benefits could be I could choose to stand up to them and express what I need to say. Or I would get support maybe from somebody, and we just start stacking. We just list benefits of that. And when you list enough to match the negative perception that you have, all of a sudden you go, oh, thank you. I wouldn't want this any different. Oh, I just wasn't seeing these gifts over here.
Okay.
So it's simple, but it is not how we've been taught to think or to look at ourselves or our lives at all.
Interesting. You know, I'm thinking as you say that, if that's true, that anything that happens, there's a positive side and a negative
Yes.
side to it, right?
Yes.
Well, first of all, should we do that when good stuff is happening to us? Should
You-
we
you-
look, what's bad about this?
You know what, and that's a great question.
Good question.
You can, if you find yourself getting a little too arrogant, maybe.
Right,
Okay.
ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
A little ahead of yourself, a little full of yourself, it would be pretty wise to maybe look at what are the downsides of this.
And that's interesting because often when we are ahead of ourselves, we can affect people in a negative way. So they have to try and find a positive. And can I give an example? Because I am
Absolutely.
struggling with something. We talked about this today. For example, I'm on side with certain things that are happening in the city with, Occupy Toronto and so on. And I have a friend who's a big part of it.
Right.
At heart, I want to support it. I just have constructive criticism or reasons why I don't want to at the moment.
Right.
And basically, she told me she does not want to hear what I have to say. Meanwhile, she wants the world to hear what she has to say and make changes. That hurt me a lot. And this could bruise our friendship. So at this point, how do I look in to see the positive in that experience? Especially when I feel it could be easily misinterpreted, which is my biggest issue. Because I haven't even presented what my ideas and reasons for not being there is. I'm not being given a chance, yet these people want to be heard. And a lot of them are my friends.
So let me just get clear on this. She didn't ask you.
She didn't ask me. She
She
just knows.
cut you off. Said, I don't want to know.
And it was written. It wasn't even verbal. She said, I don't want to talk. I want to
Okay.
write it right now. And that was hurtful because I never got a chance to explain as to what my issues are because I do want to back it up. I just can't at this moment because I don't agree with the way that it's going necessarily.
So you would ask yourself,
Right.
what are the benefits to me that I have not been able to express my views to her?
Right.
Because you actually did end up expressing them to a lot of people, didn't you, through this show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there's one benefit. You probably made you go, I'm going to state this.
And yes, and I do feel that, and it's important because in writing things get translation. We are using tools like Facebook, and a lot of how this got started is that too. And I do feel a lot of things get lost in translation when you're writing it. That's why communication is so important. But yeah, I just kind of want to throw that out there because
So
it's difficult being
I
in
would,
that situation.
You know, that one benefit doesn't balance out how you feel about it, right? So you'd have to list more. And I'd really want to know what you're feeling. Like,
Right.
what are you feeling? Are you feeling like she doesn't value you? That to me
Absolutely.
would be more the question that
It's-
we'd be
that's
looking
what it
at.
is. It's no value
Yeah.
in the friendship.
She's not
because
valuing you.
we can agree to disagree. People don't have to have the same view. Me and my partner don't have the same views. Yet we find a way to talk about it, and it keeps us stronger. And we have an opportunity to learn from each other. And in this case, it blocks that opportunity.
So I think what I perceive as one of the benefits for you is that you get to understand the depth of that friendship. You really know the
And
depth
I have
of that
thought
friendship.
of that. Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, if you're a young mother, you would probably want to give your time to people that value your friendship. So maybe that does help you with
Yes.
your timing too, and who you're going to spend your energy on.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, that's as a quickie here.
That's perfect. Thank you.
That's how it works. So there's really just 3 steps that I, acknowledge that there's always 2 sides to everything. A
That's step
magnet
1.
comes with 2. That's step 1. A coin has 2 sides, unless it's a fake coin. So, and I have 2 sides. So do you. So acknowledge that everything has 2 sides.
Right.
The second step is realize that it's your perceptions that are filtered through your values that are helping you to see one side or the other. But the other side always is still there.
Absolutely.
You're just choosing not to see it. And then that final step would be look for the other side. And in looking for it, you'll start to gain the insights, you'll start to gain the wisdom, the meaning, the lesson behind all this, instead of being stuck. Oh, why is this happening to me?
Absolutely.
And it reminds me that, they say they,
They, yes.
whoever they are, but they say, it's important to have, to be grateful, to have an attitude. I don't want to say the word because it rhymes.
I
Did you
know.
say to have an attitude?
Of gratitude.
Of gratitude,
I didn't want to
I
say
know.
that.
It's so kind of
cliche,
But you know
but
what?
It is important.
It's important.
And sometimes if, maybe this is the process that people need to go through to be able to get to that point where they can be grateful in a
Hugh,
otherwise difficult
that
situation.
is the process. You've got it. If you list enough and balance out your perceptions completely, your heart will open. You cannot stop at being grateful. You'll get tears of insight or tears of inspiration. You will get grateful.
Right.
And then that's letting go. It's kind of the science of letting go.
Is there a name to this process?
No, it's just a
Okay.
question. It's just a
Yeah.
series of questions that you could ask yourself.
Wow, it's pretty good. So, who would? Well, we already asked it, but so who out there right now that's watching this should maybe think about? Oh, maybe I should call Jennifer. Deal with this.
Well, anybody who is struggling with a past issue or a present problem or a fear of something happening to them, and they actually want to create change in their lives. They're ready to deal with it.
When you're
They're
stuck.
tired, that of being in that place. They know that there's more to life than what they're living right now, and they
Okay.
want more.
Now, do you just operate? Are you in Toronto, based in Toronto, or
I operate all over the world,
yeah?
so I'm
'Cause
on
you
the
can do
phone
that
or in
virtually
Skype.
now.
I'm
Right?
virtual, yes. Thank goodness for the internet, for Skype, and phones. Good old
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah. So anybody, anywhere. can do
Anybody,
this,
anywhere. I have
right?
clients all over the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, companies who are sensing that maybe their
Maybe the
employees-
culture in
Yeah.
their company is kind of a little bit off. There's maybe more conflict. People aren't getting along, or the productivity has gone down, and it's because people are getting all stressed out.
Okay. And where can people get in touch with you if they want to do that?
They can call me at 416-322-3353, or go on my website, www.jenniferwelsh.ca.
Okay. Fantastic.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Jennifer.
much.
Great to
Thank
meet you. And
Thank you very much for having me.
you're welcome. Great
It's
to have you on.
wonderful.
Okay. So we're going to hit the home stretch now. Erin,
Yes. You.
you know what that means,
Do I?
right? I'm just saying that. It doesn't really mean anything. It means we're going to take a little break now. We're going to come back and hopefully try to reach John Steinman in
Yes.
BC.
Great.
Talk about food security.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is
That was
exciting.
a nice surprise for me today.
Well, we'll see
Yeah.
if we can get John on the Skype or not. But let's take a break and come back with John Steinman right after this.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Close my eyes when alarm bells ring. I try to fall asleep again. Book my sleep to an English beat and I rock my mind 'cause it's sleeping time. I live in a world of my own. That time is never far away. I see the world as it is. I never know, but I
You've
So you put a sign here.
You've got
Talk
great
to
energy
this
by the way.
sign.
Oh. Okay, good. All right, so where am I at?
Okay, here.
Okay, good.
Guys,
Oh, we said okay, good.
Okay. Got her mic. Is it working?
Can you hear me? Test, test.
Make sure the mic's good. Let me know when that's
Can you hear me?
good. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Welsh, a stress management consultant and seminar leader. If you're struggling with stressful problems and desire answers and relief from your stress, we at Jennifer Welsh International will assist you in gaining clarity, peace of mind, and a renewed enthusiasm for life by helping you look at your life from a different perspective. If you're tired of struggling with your stressful problems, please contact me at jenniferwelsh.ca or 416-322-3353.